What's up, y'all? In today's video, I'm gonna be going over how I was able to not only build a private clientele, but also keep that private clientele. As I mentioned in all my previous videos, I'm more of a relationship-based kind of guy. I could care less about money. So this is how I was able to obtain and still have private clients that I don't service no more, but I pass them down to people that rent from me. So I call it the client retention system that built my business. This is how I was able to make 15K plus a month. Just being a driver, y'all. This has not been a fleet owner. This is strictly just been a driver. So let's dive right into it. So why retention beats acquisition? So it's 5 times more expensive. Getting new clients costs more than keeping existing ones. So what I mean by that, excuse me, y'all. What I mean by that is it costs a lot of money to market yourself. You got to pay for business cards. Not just that, you got to put gas in your SUV to drive around. Got to go talk to people, go to different hotels, different different business establishments that got people there, that got the money there. You know what I mean? So it costs money rather than just having somebody already that you're going to service every Tuesday and Thursday, and that's guaranteed money. So it's like you have to hunt money. It's like you have to hunt for the money, which is doing the marketing and talking to people. And then once you get them on your payroll, it's kind of like, okay, this is something that could be an everyday thing, every week thing, or every month thing. And it's going to be predictable income. So predictable income, retain clients, provide consistent monthly revenue streams, no matter if that's, like I said, daily, weekly, monthly. Most drivers chase new rides daily, which is the ones that solely rely on Uber and Lyft, meaning they don't build a private clientele. And even the ones that do start to build a private clientele, they focus on the next client rather than building a relationship with the client they already have. They rather go, oh, I'm going to add more clients to my list. No. So smart drivers build a client base that books them repeatedly without hunting for new customers every day. And that's kind of what you want, y'all. I'd rather have 10 consistent private clients than 40 private clients that put my schedule everywhere. That's typically how that's typically how you be successful in this business, which is having a schedule where you service your clients, them same 10 clients on a day-to-day basis, weekly basis, or monthly basis. That way you, like I said, who you got here on this day, on this day, on this day. It's kind of easy. After a while, it'll get repetitive and it's something you'll get used to. But I'd rather have them same 10 clients rather than trying to go expand to go get 30 to 50 clients. And now my schedule is everywhere because I got people calling me at the last minute. So retention beats acquisition all day. So my private clientele retention rate was 95%. I'm talking about everybody I typically got as a private client always called me back to either service them per day, every week, or every month. The only clients I didn't really get like calling me back every day or every week is the ones that was travelers. Those are the ones that's like, hey, Trey, could you pick me up and take me to the airport? And they live in Chicago or they live in, LA or New York. So that was the 5% of people I wasn't able to retain. I don't know why. I push, I'm very persistent. I push checking in on them and it's like, hey, I'm not coming to Houston no time soon. So no worries. And I'm like, okay, I'll fall back. So 95% of my clients I was able to keep, regular clients, executives, attorneys, business owners, some doctors. One-time clients was mainly travelers. So I told y'all I mainly focused on the people who had the money, which was people that's typically in the corporate field or some type of high-end service field like a doctor or a lawyer. So let's move to the next one. Text-based follow-up system. So y'all know I'm all for getting the number, locking it in, and always following up. I've told y'all in the past, it makes 0 cents to have a website. And this is coming from a guy that had a website thinking like, oh, this is good. This is going to help me build my private clientele and make it easier for them. But no, it actually ended up being a headache. So I don't think it's necessary to build a website as an Uber Black driver or chauffeur driver, whatever you want to call it. I think all you need is the number, because once you get the number, you can always follow up through phone call or text, preferably text. That's mainly what I did. unless I got an emergency call out of the blue. That's the only time I really got on the phone with them. Or if they say, hey, Trey, I need you to pick me up on this day, this day, this day. And then they text me and say, oh, cancel that out. And then I'll call them and say, hey, okay, just for clarity, I want to make sure I get these days right and also the time. So could you please explain so I can put this on my calendar? So that's typically the only time I got on the phone with all my clients. Mainly, it all been through text. So check-ins, availability, updates, schedule confirmations, professional communication, easy for business execs, especially your corporate workers. They busy a lot in meetings, in and out of meetings and doing stuff 24/7. So you always want to text them. Phone calls, like I said, it was last minute, urgent requests, emergency transportation needs. Typically the emergency transportation needs is like, hey, Trey, something popped up. Could you get here in like 15 minutes? Yeah, I can be there in 15 minutes. Okay, cool. Thanks. Complex scheduling, discussions, personal touch when needed. So typically you just gonna want to communicate through text unless it's like an emergency or you need to change the schedule of, what days and times you're going to schedule them. So it's pretty much simple, y'all. Don't overcomplicate this business. It's just you're driving people around. Try to make it as simple as possible. I'm all for simplicity when it comes to the chauffeur Uber Black business. Now let's go to the frequency strategy by client. So high activity clients every other day. So typically whenever I was driving, and I just want to make this very clear, y'all, I don't drive no more. Like if I do, it'll be very part-time, but like I mentioned, I have a lot of other things going on. So mainly all my vehicles stay rented out full time. But when I was driving, all my clients that I serviced every day was all my attorney clients. Why? Because they needed to go to court. They was in and out of court every day, and then some doctor clients I had every other day. But typically my attorney clients, was every day. And also my doctor clients was every other day. And sometimes I get corporate workers where they fly in and they come in 2-3 times a month, and I'll service them 2-3 days out of the week that they here. Like, hey, could you run me here? Oh, we got a dinner here. We got a business meeting here. And I'm always there. So business execs who travel frequently, attorneys with daily court appearances, corporate clients with regular meetings. Now, when it comes to the weekly check-ins, this is the people that I picked up every other week. And this was the people, like I said, like that really didn't move around like that. That typically I serviced them to either take them to a restaurant, maybe a nightclub, bar, coffee shop, something like that. It was like, oh, okay, Trey, I love you driving me around, but I really don't move around like that. So I still always checked in on them every other day. So, for example, if I'm servicing Frank on every Friday, I'm always check in on Frank a couple of days ahead of that Friday. I'm not going to text him every day like I would an attorney client. So just to simplify it for y'all, all my clients that I knew I had to service per day. And this is not me having to. This is just me wanting to earn their business. So I will always be persistent, texting them every day. Hey, so-and-so, do you need anything today? Hey, so-and-so, do you need anything today? Okay, after, say they in the SUV and I'm servicing them, finna drop them off, and then, I don't see them again. Before they get out the SUV, I'm like, hey, send me your schedule for tomorrow. I kind of put the ball in my court. You never want to put it in their court because they be busy and they always going to be like, oh, okay, I'll send it. And then they never send it. So before they get out your SUV, always confirm for them to send your schedule. Always confirm that they send their schedule to you. That way you can check in with, okay, I see you got court at 10:30, or I see you got to be here by 12. I can be there. You kind of want to demand it. Like, no, you're going to take you're going to choose me for service. That's kind of like what I did. And it always worked every time. Like I said, I did it strategically because I knew attorneys needed to be in court every day. Now, when it came to the doctors, these were people that own their own practices. So that's why it was every other day. They didn't have to be in the office every day. That's just if they wanted to be. But some of them drove. So having me as a driver was just an add-on if they didn't feel like driving, or if they had a lot going on and they needed to do some work before they got to the office. So, that's pretty much you know, how I go when it comes to servicing clients every day. Like I said, weekend social clients. It's always going to be social events, bars, clubs, stuff like that. Basically less frequent but predictable needs. Meaning like they don't really need it, but it's just like, okay, I got a driver to take me. That's what they like. Or it's like, I know I'm gonna get drunk today, Trey, so please take care of me. Absolutely, I got you. So always check in with your clients, and you need to identify what type of clients you have. You know, if it's business, anything to do with the job field, corporate business, you need to be checking in with them every day. I don't give a crap what profession they in or what their occupation is. Always check in with them every day to see if they need anything. Now, once you feel like, you know, you vetted them out, let's say, for example, I got time to give y'all another example. So let's say, for example, it's a private equity guy that actually live in Houston. And he go to the office 3 days out of the week, because some of these guys don't go to the office every day. I would text him every day to see if he need anything. Once he like, oh no, Trey, you know, once he tell me like, oh, you know, I only go to the office a couple days out of the week, then I'm gonna start checking in with him every other day instead of every day, if that makes sense. So instead of checking in every day, I'm gonna check in every other day. So it's kind of like after you talk to them, after you build a relationship, you kind of get a grasp for what their schedule gonna be like. Once you understand what their schedule gonna be like, that's when you start moving accordingly. You know what I mean? So if you know they got a busy schedule, they always moving around every other hour, you need to be on them every day. Hey, you need anything this morning? Hey, you need anything in the afternoon? If you know they move around every other day, you need to check in every 2 to 3 days. Hey, Frank, do you need anything today? Okay, cool. 2 days later, hey, Frank, just checking in. Everything all right? Do you need anything? Just stay on it. I'm telling you, being persistent wins in this business, because they like, damn, this guy annoying. You know what? Come pick me up. You know what I mean? Now, when it comes to the weekend clients, like I said, you can check in every weekend. Not every weekend. You want to do it before the weekend. So if I know I got a guy that I usually pick up on Saturday and Sunday, or even Friday night, because he want me to pick him up from some bar or nightclub or some big event he at, I'm going to text him Thursday and Friday to confirm pickup time and also drop off time. So just know your client's schedule. That's the best way I can put it in. The only way you're going to know their schedule is to know them and build that relationship. Understanding their occupation and lifestyle patterns allows you to time your outreach perfectly. So don't just have surface level conversations with your clients. Make sure you know everything about them. That's one thing I was an expert in. Like, I want to know everything. Anything you comfortable with telling me, tell me. I want to know. And it's not just because I want to be in their business. I could care less. It's just so I can provide adequate top tier customer service to show them I value them, and not just value them, but also their time. Now let's move to the next one. So another big tip. I feel guilty giving y'all this stuff. This is some good information, good advice. But another reason I was able to be successful with retaining a private clientele is because I went above and beyond. You know, if it was like, for example, on here, I put gift cards, anticipate needs, holiday wishes. So, for example, I had clients in the past where I built my relationship with them, understand what they do like and what they don't like, and then I'll apply it. Once I know, like, hey, I'm servicing this guy every day or every other day or every week, I'll do something that let them know, hey, I appreciate them for choosing my service. So it was a guy that loved Chick-fil-A that, he was my private client. So what I did is one day went to the store, got him a Chick-fil-A gift card for $25, and I also got him a Chick-fil-A coffee. Man, you should have seen the look on his face. He was, oh, thank you so much, Trey. He appreciated that. He's still a client on my list, y'all. Still a client. Like I said, I don't service these people no more, but I let it go to my renters. But I let my renters know, like, hey, take care of these people. You represent them under my name, so make sure they straight. More things I did with different clients. Like, if I knew they needed something, or like if I talked to them the day before and they said, hey, I got this to do, what I'll do is I'll be like, hey, man, do you need me to run to the store for you? I'll do it. Do you need me to grab anything before I pick you up? I'll do it. I done ran some errands before for some clients. That way I ran the errand while they was busy doing something, and then I picked them up. One time a guy had a date. He was my client, and he this is funny. It was like a last minute date he threw together, and he told me in the morning, because I serviced him twice that day. First day, or first time in the morning, it was the business stuff, and then the second time was picking up his date. But basically, he was trying to surprise her at the last minute. So basically, I went to the store for him, bought him some flowers, picked him up, then we went to go pick her up. And then she was like, "Oh my God." It was just a last minute, gesture or whatever you want to call it. And, I winked at him, he winked at me, and like, yeah, we did that. Another thing I can give y'all is it was a guy, another date situation. So this guy was kind of like, one of them guys. He had the girls. But basically, they had a date. It was at the steakhouse. It was kind of like a stretch with time. And, he didn't have the time to go pick her up. So I was like, "Hey, man, I'll pick her up for you, no problem." So I was like, "Just send me the address." And I was like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna take care of you." So I picked her up. I gave the best service possible. And, he told me later on after we dropped her off, "Man, thank you for that." He appreciated that. I gave her the white glove service, opened the door. "Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am," had a good conversation with her, and then picked him up, dropped him off at the steakhouse, picked him up from the steakhouse, took them back to his condo. So stuff like that, going above and beyond for your clients, make them really appreciate you. Not only that, but they always want to book with you. So I don't know. I always treated my clients like family rather than them being clients, which, it's not like you're going to be like this for week 1, week 2, week 3. It's time, it's a lot of time that go into this. Checking in on them every day, every other week, every month, trying to accommodate all their needs, focusing on their schedule, because sometimes they might miss out on things and you might catch it. Like, "Hey, you remember you told me you got this Saturday?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, I did tell you that. Actually, will you be available to pick me up that day?" "Yes, ma'am, I will." "Okay, thank you so much." Stuff like that. And not only that, y'all, but holiday wishes. Whenever it came to like the holidays, I tell all my private clients, whether I'm servicing them every day, every other week, or every month, even if I serviced them months ago one time and it was an airport trip, I'm wishing them a Merry Christmas. I'm wishing them a Happy Thanksgiving, Happy New Year's, Happy Memorial, stuff like that, depending on like their background. Like, I'm always like treating them like they family, man. So I call it the family treatment. Treat your clients like family members, not just transactions. The personal touch creates unbreakable loyalty. And still to this day, y'all, like I said, I got people on my private clientele list just from, me doing small gestures and implementing that in my service. Like I said, I'm always going to be a relationship kind of guy. Money come with that. I done had people tip me hundreds of dollars before. Where it's like, okay, damn, I ain't got to go out for the rest of the week. You know what I mean? So treat people like family. Or let me rephrase that. Treat your clients like family if you want residual clients. Period. Do stuff that they don't have to ask you to do. Go above and beyond. Make sure they are always taken care of. If you know they like coffee, get them a coffee before you pick them up to drop them off at their office. Or if they finna go to an event and they drink, get some little bottles of alcohol where they can like throw them back and make them, buzzed or make them feel relaxed. Have a cooler in there, have gum, stuff like that, man. Chargers, all of that. It's just, it all pile up. I don't have like a certain way to put it, but the point I'm trying to make is just make sure your clients is taken care of. Treat them like a family member rather than just a client that you're trying to get money from. I guarantee you, if you treat them like you're just trying to get their money, you won't hear from them again. I guarantee you. So, yeah, y'all write that down. Take notes, man. Excuse me. So I got treating clients like family, personal connection. Remember, personal details and preferences. Ask about their family and important events. Striking up a conversation with your clients every time they're in the car. Do this accordingly. If they busy working on a laptop, try to keep that to a minimum. But if they done with all they work for the day, or they their occasion is finna go to an event or go have fun, strike up a conversation, get to know them, know their background, know who you have in your car, period. Know who you have in your car. So like knowing about their family, checking in, like, hey Frank, your son good? How has he been in school? Or hey, your daughter all right? She good? Yeah, she's good. She's in college now. Da da da. Something like that. Just like I said, family. Show genuine interest in their success. You know how many times I had people in my car that they talking about how many millions of dollars they done made, and I'm just like, oh god damn. I'm the little pawn, the little peasant driving them around, and they closing $1 million deals in the back seat. I'm just like, oh damn, this, what a position to be in. Even though I'm not in that position yet, I was just grateful to be there, because it's like whenever you hear stuff like that, that energy rub off on you. Now you want to go out there and tackle it and, be successful as well. Not only that, but with all my clients, man, I always uplift them. They always uplifted me. I remember one of my attorney clients, he was like, Trey, where you want to be in 5 years? And I'm like, man, I do not know. All I want to know is I just always wanted to be super successful. I come from a very low class background. Like, I didn't know nothing. Nobody taught me anything. I had to come out here and learn everything myself. I really didn't see this side of life. And I always know I'd be something in my life, but I didn't know when and how it was going to happen. And he was just like, oh, I'm going to ask you that next time I see you, and I want a better answer. So he wanted me to be more direct instead of like giving him like my story, but he appreciated the story. And he was like, man, I respect the grind and respect the hustle. You got to understand, a guy with a Range Rover at 24 is different. I know nowadays times is a little bit different. You got 18-year-olds or 17-year-olds buying supercars and shit. But from a guy that don't come from much, that's like a, accomplishment to me. I don't look at materialistic things like that, but I'm just saying like, telling him that he basically checking in. He not only uplifted me, respected the story, and, kind of like praised it, but he also said, hey, I want a better answer. I want to see you do better. That's basically how it went. And, I always do the same with him as well. We talk about a lot of business opportunities. We talk about families. We talk about hobbies, stuff we like to do. And I try to narrate that with all my clients. But it's some clients that's comfortable with talking about that and some that don't be. So you kind of got to respect their space. But celebrate their achievements and milestones. Emotional investment, be available during their important moments, provide comfort during stressful times, maintain consistency and reliability, build trust through authentic. Sorry, I'm over here struggling with the word authentic. When clients feel like family, they'll never use another driver. You'll become irreplaceable in their daily routine. Now, I said this in previous videos, and man, it was so many times where a guy wanted me to be his personal driver, and I just couldn't accept it because I didn't want to work for nobody. And these was people that was mega millionaires. Like I said, one of them was a billionaire, and I just had to turn it down. I understand y'all probably like, why you turn that down? You could have been working with a mega millionaire, billionaire. But it's not about just the money. It's about freedom. Now, if I took that deal, I'm on their time. They calling me. If they call me, I got to be there at a certain time. One guy told me, Trey, let's take these vacations. I'm bringing you with me. I had to turn it down. Sorry, man, I have other clients to service. That was tough to do. Whenever you don't come from much and you see stuff, or you see this part of the world, or see the better part of life, it's like shiny object syndrome. I was like, oh yeah, sound good. Then I had to snap back into it like, it's good, it sounds good, but I'm gonna have to pass. So I had multiple opportunities where I could have been a driver making 20 to 30K on somebody else's payroll, where I didn't even have to drive fucking Uber and Lyft no more. And they would have bought the SUV for me to drive. Didn't even have to drive my personal car. But just because I know who I am and where I want to be, I had to respectfully turn it down. So just treating your clients like family members go a long way. And I'm telling you, if you implement this, I wouldn't be surprised that y'all come back to this video and say, man, I really appreciate you for that great information, great advice. I now work for so-and-so. If that's something you want to do. Everybody not going to have my mindset or operate the way I do. And I don't want y'all to. If y'all want to take them jobs as far as working for people that's filthy rich, go do that if that's something you want to do. But, I'm just telling y'all my experience. So I'm trying to teach y'all off my experience. So, yeah, let's go to the next one. So I put in here, as y'all can see, the attorney recovery story. So basically, I had one of my attorneys. I serviced him every day. And y'all know my rate is 120, so it added up quick. He can be in court for 3 to 4 hours, and he know by the time he come out, that damn tab already damn near at $400 to $500. Which he's an attorney, he make a shitload of money. That wasn't the issue. But I don't know, sometimes I felt like it was like, even if you're getting a lot of money, you don't want to always spend it. And some of these people like, do I really need a driver? So it was a time where it went from me servicing him every day to now it was him like blowing me off now. Like, hey, I don't have court today. But I'm like, man, I know you got court today. What do you mean you don't have court today? Because me and him talked a lot. We built a relationship. I knew his schedule. So when I start hitting him, because remember, y'all, I told y'all my clients that I checked on every day. I always texted them to ask for their schedule for the next day. And whenever I would do that with him specifically, he would start blowing me off saying he don't have court or he didn't need anything. And he done that for a couple months. So he kind of like went cold turkey on me. And then I was just like, damn, what did I do? I started reflecting. I'm like, damn, what possibly could I have done? I was always on time, early, picking him up. Same with drop-offs, professional. We talked a lot, built a relationship, even had dinner with him a couple times. So I'm digging in my book like, damn, what did I do? And it's like, I didn't do nothing. Sometimes people just want to break from certain things. So client went quiet, kept telling me no court today. I don't know, it just became an everyday norm. But after, I was still persistent. So him turning me down every day and saying he didn't need anything, I start to fall back. So instead of checking up on him every day, it went to me checking in every week. And then one day I did my normal text message to him asking if he needed anything. And he said, yeah, I actually need something. Could you come pick me up from my office? I said, yes, sir. I was there. And then after that time, it went back to the norm. That's when I started picking him up. But I kept being persistent, y'all. I kept being on him about it. Like, imagine if I just, he went cold turkey on me and I'm like, oh, fuck it, man. Fuck it. I got other clients. I can service. I ain't worried about him. I didn't do that. I kept being persistent, kept being in his ear. And now he's a friend. He give me advice all the time. Even offered to invest into some of my business ventures. So being persistent, even if they falling back or going cold turkey, if you're offering good quality service and you take care of them, don't be overthinking like you did something wrong. Sometimes, people just want to break from certain things, or maybe they feel like they don't need that type of service, or, whatever. It's a lot of factors that play into it, but I don't want y'all to be like me and, think about it too much and put yourself for the blame. Don't do that. Just continue to show up, continue to check in on them, and, eventually things will change. So that was kind of like my attorney recovery story. An attorney that I serviced every day went cold turkey on me. And then when I kept being persistent, checking in on him, we end up going back to our normal schedule of me servicing him every day when I was driving. So the strategy that worked, I never stopped following up, continued weekly check-ins, even when he said he didn't need the service. Persistence and professionalism won him back to daily, every other day bookings, period. So being there, showing up, being the best person I could be, got my client back. So if y'all want to be successful, get a residual private clientele that pay you high dollars, this is what you're going to have to do right here. Let that pride and ego go. So customer service and professionalism, exceptional service, always on time or early, clean, pristine vehicle condition, professional appearance and attire, respectful and courteous interactions, Anticipate client needs, professional standards, clear communication and updates, flexible schedule, accommodation, confidentially and discretion, consistent quality every ride, problem-solving mindset. The foundation of retention. Outstanding customer service and unwavering professionalism are the foundation that makes all other retention strategies possible. Without this, nothing else matters. So you just really need those two things, man. Exceptional service and just keeping that professionalism and kind of going above and beyond. Building that relationship with your clients really help you out when it comes to the chauffeur Uber Black business. It goes a long way. So I don't want to go over those things again. I'm going to just keep it brief. I feel like y'all get the point. Long-term revenue impact. So one-time clients, maybe 40, 50, maybe 120, 140, 150 a ride. And that's if I just offered them a ride and I only looked at them as a client to pay me money. You might get that. But my retained clients, that's who really put money in my pocket. Not only that, but I was able to predict my income, not relying on Uber, not relying on Lyft, not relying on these rideshare platforms to tell me what, basically going off the commission that they pay me for each ride. So with me utilizing Uber and Lyft and also my clientele, I was able to scale to a much higher income. So 10 retained clients, and these are just numbers I threw out there, the compound effect. 10 clients could lead to 20 clients. Predictable income. And I'm going to tell you, y'all, if you really want to win in this business and you build a residual retained clientele of clients, once you scale past 10, maybe even 15, because I put 20, but 20, if you got 20 residual clients, you're going to need to buy another SUV and hire a driver. Either hire a driver or rent the vehicle out to him. But 10 and 15 is kind of like, pushing it, depending on their needs and when they need to be serviced. Because you only got a certain amount of time in one day. So imagine if 3 clients call you all at the same time. Boy, it hurt when you miss out on that money. I'm telling y'all, it hurt real bad. So you kind of want to avoid that. Try not to double book, triple book. And once I start scaling my clientele, that's when I bought another SUV. That's when I pulled my partner in. I said, hey, quit your job. We're going to do this for now. This is not our end all be all. This is just something where we don't have to go work for nobody. And then we did it. We serviced our clients and we did Uber and Lyft and we was able to make good money off this stuff. So it was predictable income. Not just that, but we was able to control our schedule more. Because imagine you just deal with a client for 4 hours, 5 hours, and that pay you more than Uber would pay you for that day. And you don't have to go deal with random people. I was more comfortable with dealing with people I built a relationship up with rather than going to deal with random strangers for 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks a ride. And I'm talking about the Uber and Lyft platforms. I don't know. That's just me. And this is why I was never like I didn't really like doing Uber and Lyft, y'all. I didn't like being around people. It was miserable to me. I dealt with a lot of racist people, a lot of people that was entitled, held that professionalism, kept everything professional. So, dealing with people that I talked to and, seeing every day was just like refreshing. And that's why I focused on it so heavy. I don't really like being around a lot of people. I'm not saying I'm an antisocial guy or introvert. I'm actually an extrovert. I like doing stuff and being around people, but I just didn't want to be around people in that instance as far as driving them around as a stranger. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just, I ain't really like driving random people around. That's just me, so had to do something about it. But yeah, long-term revenue impact, retain clients is going to predict how much money you really going to make. So you better do whatever you need to do to keep them on your payroll or, you be on their payroll, whatever. Implementation action steps. This is what I want y'all to do for week 1. Set up systems. Create a client contact database. Set up text messaging system. Plan follow-up schedule by client type. Prepare for professional message templates. And y'all can utilize systems, y'all. We live in a different time. If you're making excuses about not knowing certain things in this day and age, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. There's so many AI platforms out there that help you with this. It's ridiculous. So, make it happen. And I want to add in there for week 1, going up to people and sell them your service, not just solely relying on Uber and Lyft to give you the lead. So week 2, start follow-ups, begin systematic client outreach, track response rates and patterns, note client preferences and schedules, start building personal connections. Week 3, add value, implement above and beyond services, send first holiday, special occasion messages, birthdays, if they got married, anything special that you think is special to them, let them know. Anticipate and fulfill client needs, document what works for each client. Week 4, optimize and scale, analyze retention rates and adjust, identify your most valuable clients, replicate successful strategies, plan long-term relationship growth. And this is, like I said, if you want to make this a business and really scale and grow your private clientele of consistent clients. So got y'all a 4-week plan that y'all need to put into use after you get done watching this video. So y'all need to go do that. But y'all, master client retention systems. That's the video for today. Y'all do me a favor. So show some love to the channel. Like, comment what y'all liked about this video. If y'all want me to cover any other thing about the rideshare business, let me know in the comment section. Share the video, subscribe to the channel. I think I said that already. Also, y'all, I came out with the Rideshare Blueprint. Rideshare Blueprint give you a shortcut to understand the logistics of the rideshare business. So if y'all want access to the Rideshare Blueprint, click the link in my bio. With that being said, y'all, I'm finna get out of here. I will catch y'all next video.